welcome to Fin24. In the studio today, we have Ian Mann. Ian has written approximately 600 book reviews in his illustrious 19-year career, and he has also written over 100 book reviews for Fin24. He has now written his third book called The Executive Update, and I must tell you, it captures everything about business in 110 pages. Everything about business in the Executive Update in 110 pages. Welcome, Ian. Let's get straight into it.
Thank you.
Tell us more about the Executive Update.
My experience with business people is that most of them are running businesses, with the result that they have barely any time to do the things that they need to do. And one of them obviously is to continually educate yourself with what's going on in the world so that you can make more intelligent decisions.
It's a continuous learning process.
Absolutely.
You can't stagnate. You can't say, I have a successful business.
Yes.
Let's leave it there.
That's one of the best recipes for failure. If you have a look at great businesses that have fallen over, think of BlackBerry, a fantastic company that I would gladly have invested all my mother's pension money in it, because it was RIM, which means research in motion. If you're constantly doing that, you can't fail. But they did. And they failed mainly because they lost the plot. They stopped recreating themselves. They stopped looking at what's going on around them. They stopped thinking about business. And as soon as you focus on what you're doing as opposed to what's happening around you, you can get yourself in some terrible trouble.
Ian, let's look at some of the chapters that you have in this book. I've gone through it and I find it fascinating. Something that I want to chat about is called the evolution of organizations.
Yes.
What do you mean?
I'll tell you what it is. Organizations were really originally developed because when you have groups of people together in an organized fashion, they can do what one person can't do on his own. So, for example, if you could gather a few people together, they could carry more wood than they could if they were doing it on their own. So we had organizations going back way hundreds and thousands of years. Whenever human beings got together, we started organizations. And we've continued with pretty much the same model. There's the alpha wolf at the top and all the people below them. We've come a little more refined. We evolved into a model of an army with lots of people having clear positions, doing exactly what the leader wants them to do. We eventually evolved into a machine where we talk about business being a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Yes, every part knows exactly what they're supposed to do. We call those part descriptions job descriptions, of course.
Yeah.
So you have your job description part, and you can just plug people in, take them out as you wish. But because it was a machine, it's very mechanical. And so we can do things like shared jobs.
Yes, and people become interchangeable so easily.
Yes, and we abuse people. We can abuse people because you have only one principle. It's efficiency and cost containment. So we get rid of people. We don't get rid of people. We eliminate jobs. We shed jobs, which is so polite. It actually means take a human being's livelihood away. We went through that. Then we sort of evolved. We got into organizations which are much more like a family. And with a family organization, if your kid has three terms of bad results in math, you don't say to them, is it true you've had 3 terms? They say, yes, I have, Dad. Say, did I tell you in the first term that this was not okay? He said, yes. And the second, yes. Well, this is the third term, you're no longer the kid.
Yeah.
We don't do that stuff. We have more family, we treat people like human beings. But all of that stuff is very hierarchical. I'm still Dad, and you're still the kid. And I think that what's happened is the organizations today cannot have the same model as they used to have in the past. We need to have organizations which are firstly less hierarchical, where we push down responsibility to the lowest possible unit in the organization. So for example, you have a CEO of reception, and that lady or man at reception, they're totally in control. So when the CEO from the 15th floor walks down and says, I'd like you to change the operating system here, because that person is the CEO of reception, they should be able to look at the CEO and say, I don't think so. And he must say,
and it should be respected.
And he says, well, that's what. So but all I asked you to do was to serve our guests tea when they walked in here. And you don't want to do, why wouldn't you want to do that? She says, well, by the time it takes for the tea to come and for them to be taken up to the 15th floor to meet you, the tea will be cold. They'll be carrying tea up in a lift. It makes no sense. And the CEO says, well, I didn't know that. Of course you didn't know that, because you have never been a receptionist.
Yes.
So we devolve power around the areas that you work, and we allow you to do that as much as you can. Take as much responsibility as you can. In the same vein, we don't have to have organizational restructures using this model. Organizations restructure as we need to. I don't need anybody's permission to restructure my department. I restructure.
And how far do you think we've come in getting to this model?
Well, let me tell you, I'm pleased you asked that question. AES, which is a company that employs 40,000 people, they build electricity plants. They run like this. I've got a litany of companies from Favi where they extrude metal, and they use this model. So the model is possible in the 21st century, and it's one that's more appropriate to getting as opposed to fighting against the system. So many people say, I spend so much time fighting the system that I can't do what I know I can do. You design an organization that doesn't require you to fight.